Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today's video is on the Litehawk Challenger. You all know I've got a lot of videos up here of this thing running in the lake, that sort of thing. Well, today is my final review and thoughts on the Litehawk Challenger, and also why you should not waste your money on this really expensive boat. This boat sells regular price $269.99 plus tax, about 305 bucks. Around that area. Now I paid $249 plus tax. I had also bought a second one just to see if, well, perhaps maybe I just got a bum one the first time because the top of my hull got cracked. My sponsons have started to fly apart. Okay. Now the other one only got about, not even 5 minutes in the water. I hit my wife's Challenger and blew the whole bottom end out of the boat. It was way beyond repair. Now, flipping this thing upside down, I've got some really bad areas here. This blew apart when I was in Lake Nipissing not that long ago, as well as up near the front of the sponson. Actually, it was on this side. Now, this cracked wide open, just jumping some waves, and I was only doing about half throttle for most of my running, and a couple times where I pinned it. Okay, I've also got some spots along in here that have had some light fractures that were a little easier to seal. No big deal there. Also, wave jumping was this whole side piece gave out. Alright, so this is not very good news for a boat to start flying apart when you're just jumping waves. Now, when I go out boating, I'm very aware in the area that I'm boating, what's in the water, etc. I know I'm not hitting anything except water, right? This crack, of course, on top had happened when I lifted the boat out of the water just to change the battery. Okay, so, and top of the hull. It's not going to get hit in midair. I had first talked to Litehawk about this before any of this bottom damage started, and they basically told me, well, sorry, we're not going to replace your hull for you, but you can buy one off of us for 45 bucks. Okay? Now, I don't know the official price on these hulls. It may be 45 bucks. It may be a hell of a lot more. They seem to like the $45 number if you check their parts website. The ESC, of course, is 50 bucks. But anyways, so what we're going to do today is we are going to show you why you really should not buy this boat. Okay, so let's strip the hardware off because we're going to put this little baby through the bandsaw. Okay, there's been some argument. I had another YouTuber guy who nicely deleted his comments too, before sticking foot in his own mouth, who was trying to say that this boat is really built tough and you can hit stuff with it. And I'm like, no you can't, okay? And we've actually blocked each other from each other's channels. So, but anyhow, that's another story altogether. Let's get this thing apart. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible. And I'm keeping the footage running because I want you to see this is seamless footage. We haven't swapped out any boat or anything like that. But I want to show you guys just how poor of a quality build this thing is, because I've been fighting back and forth with Litehawk for quite some time now. Of course, they still won't give in and send me a free hull under warranty, which they should have warrantied it just for the top. But now with all this other damage going on, it's really got me upset. They still don't care, you know, and they say they test every item out before they sell it too, right? They say that right on their website. Well, they don't do that. They don't test every single item out. Now, if you're still going to buy one of these boats, a few things you should know right away. Just going to get a wrench here. No, I'm not going to be able to get my wrench. You're still going to buy this boat, you're going to want to know all this information ahead of time. If you damage your hull in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to cover it, okay? The receiver on this boat says it's waterproof, okay? It is not waterproof by any means whatsoever. I've had to take my receiver apart, well, now 6 times since my last video when I've talked about it, and to let it dry out for a couple of days before it would come back to life. So again, not very thrilled or happy with that. Stuff happens, right? They say it's waterproof. Well, if it's waterproof, I shouldn't have had to take it apart, am I right? Of course I'm right. Now, their idea of waterproof, of course, is this rubber hoodie, which doesn't do squat, because when you do get water inside the boat, you'll end up, after a few runs, like me, having to take the thing apart just to get the water out of the receiver. And you're going to find a fair amount of water inside that receiver. Screw all the way out. There we go. That's out. My first impressions of this boat, guys, when I first got it, I thought, hey, this is a great boat. It's really awesome. Does great in calm water. If you're going to play with it in calm water, you'll likely not have any problems at all with the bottom of the hull because it's not getting slapped around. However, taking it out into the waves, this is where you're going to start developing issues when you're jumping waves. Because when you're going up and down and skipping the waves, it goes kapang, kapang. And this is, of course, what's busting the hell out of the hull. Now, you'll notice in Litehawk's videos, they never show this thing out in the waves. They're on calm water or they're in a swimming pool, right? And that's how they test their boats. They don't actually put them through any really rugged testing to say, hey, this thing is capable of doing this, this, and this, and, you know, they just let us believe that it's a really awesome machine. Now, don't get me wrong, Litehawk does have a lot of cool stuff that's decent. Even the Litehawk Challenger boat, I have now 3 of them. They actually sent me one of those for free, which I wasn't even expecting, because I had some motor issues with replacement motors still cooking on me. But anyway, so they sent me a replacement charger. I still haven't fired it up yet, so I don't even know if it works. But now one thing I want to mark as I'm going is actually my ESC plugs. I want to make sure I color code these. Now, in some ways, guys, it really doesn't matter as long as you get the prop going the right way. At least that's what I've been reading, but I still don't believe everything I read on the internet, so hey, you know. Hey, I think we even got some red tape here. So anyways, back to the Challenger. Now that's a tough boat. That is one boat that is hard to kill. My wife and I have smashed into each other's Challengers with absolutely 0 damage. Okay? I've actually scraped them across the rocks a few times. No damage. Okay? They're an awesome little boat for, you know, 90 bucks on sale. The new Champ, they actually show in video, which actually surprised me that Litehawk would do that. They showed on the video that the 2 Litehawk Champs can smack into each other and still survive. And I thought, well, hey, that's pretty impressive, you know, so I just might have to buy one of those. Not that I'm going to really support Litehawk for much more, but I'd like to really see how tough those things are built, because I know that a lot of you guys rely on me for my honest opinions and reviews, and I don't mind a little investment just to let you guys know if something's a piece of junk or not. And you know, this is where we're coming down to this video on the Challenger, that guys, I'll be honest with you, this is a nice boat for calm water. It's a good size. Alright, now Litehawk still says it's just nothing but a toy, because they're a toy company, but it is actually entry-level hobby class. I've done my research, and there are hobby class boats that are ABS hulled. And what also makes a boat like this into the hobby class range is the fact that you have a brushless motor, a separate speed controller, and a separate receiver. And of course you got that good old 2.4 gigahertz technology, which is really sweet too. Okay, and these are things that have to happen to qualify something into the hobby grade level. Now, with every Litehawk product, period, they have 100% parts support, which is great. You know, you want to have that. Most people, however, don't know how to fix their own stuff. Okay, but, you know, that's fine. There are guys like me that can help them out, do-it-yourself videos, or they can send their stuff to guys like me, and we can fix their stuff for them. So, well, it looks like it's just about got it. Well, let's get this metal screw out of here just in case, because we don't want to run into that with the bandsaw blade. So anyway, the Chargers. Yes, the Chargers are virtually indestructible little boats. And they're more of a toy class because they have an integrated receiver ESC. Okay, mind you, it is, from what we found out, it's about a 30 amp ESC in it. So, and it can handle a LiPo battery. The new Champ actually has the exact same motor, same receiver, and they've switched it over to lithium-ion slash LiPo type battery. You know, so they did a pretty good job, you know, as far as that stuff goes. And from what I've seen so far, it seems to be a decent little boat. But time will tell, of course. Now, this one's going to give us the hard time, so we're not going to worry about taking out that piece. Alright, let's get this out of here. But I wanted to show you guys and prove to you exactly how thin this hull is and how lousy it's built. Now, I've talked to you guys before, sidewalls are pretty thick, the bottom is definitely really thick, but the bottom sponsons are paper thin and the top is very, very thin. Okay, one more bracket to remove, guys, and we're going to go into the basement and we're going to put this baby through the bandsaw for you. I really was hoping to do a self-destruction test in the lake and, you know, give this thing its final victory dance, smashing into something extremely hard at about 30 miles an hour, but that's not going to happen, so that's alright. But, anyhow, I really would not, in the end, recommend this boat to any of you unless you're only going to play with it in calm water, so basically ponds, okay, or if you're going to go to the lake, make sure it's calm as glass, not even a ripple, you know. And also, here's the next little kicker for you. You're going to love this, and I'm going to show it to you. Now, these things come with an 11-volt 3-cell battery, right? Alright, let's get this out of here. Anyhow, get this over here. This is our electronic speed control, or ESC. 50 amps, right? Y'all know this. 2-cell to 4-cell. Comes with a 3-cell battery at 25 C discharge, or 25 amp. The ESC is 50 amps, which also should, the motor should also handle the 50 amps. And believe me, it's going to suck it up. Done some testing. With just a 3-cell battery in this thing, running say half throttle for till the battery is pretty much done, or even doing a lot of full throttle stuff, your battery's going to get super hot. Now guys, This actual boat, this boat has about 2 hours running time total. That's not a lot of trips to the beach. That's about, I don't know, 12, 15, 16 times. Let's time it out at about 6 minutes a run, because that's about all you can get before, you know, your battery's too weak to even get you back to shore. So let's do the math on that. Now, I've owned this boat only since April of this year, okay? So I haven't had it for very long. It was actually about mid-April. Now, 2 hours is not a lot of running time, and all my parts are good, but my hull is completely trashed, okay? Now, I swear to you guys, I did not bang the bottom of the hull up on rocks or any of that sort of stuff. I've just wave jumped with it. I've been out in some medium waves on the one lake we have, a little rougher waves on the other lake, and my bottom end is just splitting apart. The only thing holding this thing together right now, guys, is a couple of rounds of hot glue, okay? That's what's holding this boat together, so I could still drive it in the meantime, because I've been hoping that Litehawk would have some sense and send me a replacement hull at least, you know. And we started with the top of the hull, and it's all fractured up in here and across here. But you know what? Crazy Glue seems to be kind of holding, but the thing is, I've told them their engineers screwed up. Now, this also got me banned from their forum too, just so that you know. Now, I have no problem telling you guys that. Yes, I've been banned from Litehawk's forum because I told them that the battery they used was garbage because it's a 25 amp discharge. They're using a 50 amp ESC that's sucking the life out of that battery, which is overheating it and making it puff. Let's get to that now real quick. I'll grab my Lipo fireproof bag because I've had to store these things in here. Now, this one here, top side is okay. The bottom is just a little puffy, which isn't too bad. Okay, it's not too bad. This one, on the other hand, is stretching itself for all it's worth, and it's a lot more puffy. Okay, so what happens is when you start over drawing from a battery, a Lipo, it overheats, right? Because these things, after 6 minutes of running, come out pretty damn toasty, and if you're doing a lot of full throttle stuff, they're gonna come out so toasty. Oh yes, they're going to be nice and hot. This is bad. So this is a design flaw or an engineering flaw. Whoever designed and said, build this boat, use this battery, you know, if an engineer had any sense in his head, he would have told them, no, we don't do that, okay? Because you're going to catch boats on fire. Of course, we don't know what happened, but somebody either didn't care or didn't care to mention it. So I did some testing myself, and I ran 2 of these Litehawk batteries in parallel, okay, which allows me to have my 50 amp discharge on a continuous rate, and it allows me more playtime, of course, because I'm doubling my milliamps. So I'm going from 22 to 44, and I'm doubling my discharge rate by being in a parallel hookup. Okay, the problem with this boat, haven't figured it out yet because I've seen a lot of cats run boats batteries side by side. It does make the boat a little more unstable, as far as, you know, it'll flip more often than it would with just having the one battery. Now, I've also tried a large and heavy 3-cell at a 30 by 35 amp discharge rate, thinking, hey, okay, it does run a little cooler, but using this setup, the batteries come out running fairly cool, okay? But if you just run the 1 3-cell, they're toasty. Now, the ESC is designed to handle a 2-cell setup. Now, a 2-cell setup is two 2-cell batteries tied in series, which gives you 14.8 volts, okay, which maxes out what everything can handle here. And you go with a 25 by 50 discharge setup, and you're still at 25 by 50, but the battery can handle the 50 amp draw when you pin it for, you know, like 10 seconds, okay, or 15 seconds. You can go pretty far in 10 seconds when you pin this boat. This boat is pretty fast, and it's even faster with a 4-cell setup, okay? So, or you can go with a single 4-cell Lipo just on the one side. Now, the other problem that happens here is, so far I haven't been able to find anything really super light in a straight 4-cell. everything I'm finding in a 4-cell is about a pound or slightly heavier, even in the Nanotechs. So I didn't even bother to go to a 4-cell setup, but my buddy did in his boat. And it does scream pretty nice with the 4 cells when you tie a 2-cell on either side. Okay. Anyhow, without further ado, let's go to the basement, guys, and let's see what's inside this. I have some digital calipers we're going to use to measure the hull thicknesses for you, so you can see just how thin this is. Oh, by the way, there's the brick I was using. Okay, we've got our calipers. Yeah, battery's good. Right on. All right. I think I got a bit of a cold coming on too. Okay, we'll put our boat right there. Set the tripod up on its legs. A little bit of extra light in here. Probably not a lot. Okay, give us room. Yes, that is. Alright guys, let's say goodbye to the Challenger here. I'm going to try and set this up because I don't want to cut my shaft tube and destroy my bandsaw blade here. There's one slice. We're going to do one more. Oh, that kind of hurt a bit, didn't it? Okay, let's go outside where we got some good lighting. And we're going to take some measurements for you guys. Alright. First, let's take a look at this. See if we can find some clean area here, someplace. I told you I had a lot of hot glue in this thing. Actually, this is probably going to be about the better piece right here. So, this is going towards more of the front of the hull, of course, and it gets a little thicker up in here. Let's see what happens here. So here's our decking plate. This is the area that cracked on me here. Now you notice right along where it did crack, it's pretty thin. And of course they get the hull thicker in this area, and it's actually even thinner on this side. Okay, so this is not very thick stuff here. Your middle section here, now that's almost about 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, this is the middle where your motor mount's gonna sit and everything, okay? And you got your bottom part of your sponsons. Now right in the corners here, okay, this is where things are fracturing along the sides here. This is really super thin. Okay, so this is not very acceptable here. There's a cleaner section. Let's try and get some of this debris off here. There's a pretty good look at how thin things really are in here. Okay, same as your bottom sponson. It's not all that thick. It's very thin actually. Okay, this is very thin-walled here. Now this boat should be a lot tougher than you would think, because the decking along the midsection is actually fairly thick. The bottom, thick, but as soon as it goes out towards the sides, it gets really super thin, then it gets thicker, and then of course you got thinness going on again, and all this is a weak point. Okay, like look how easy this thing just breaks. That's pathetic. Okay, I'm not even getting cut by plastic here. It's too weak. Okay, there you go. That's how weak this thing is. That's absolute garbage. So, let's get at the calipers here and see what we got. I'm going to do this in millimeters. Now, we need a section I didn't hit glue on. Okay, this is the bottom area of the sponson. 1.39 millimeter. Okay, sidewall 2.5 mil. Middle of the decking 3.26. It's got some thickness there. See if we can get into this little corner edge here. 1.07 millimeter. That's right in the edgings. This is where it's taking all those hits and flying apart, right? Now, let's take a look at the actual bottom. 3.03. Up in here on the decking, this is going to be a tough one to actually get because it's on a bend. 1.06. Now let's take a look at that area that broke on me. We might as well just break it away. .93 of a millimeter. That's the area where it broke. So, if you guys really want to buy this boat, go ahead and buy it. I'll never buy another one myself. I've had enough of this thing. That is abhorrent crap and garbage. But if you do buy it, be aware you're only going to be able to run this thing in very calm waters. Okay? If you hit anything with it, it is going to start blowing your sponsons apart. Alright, if you hit another boat like I did with my second Challenger, you will blow the sponsons right apart. Okay, it was glorious. I wish I would have got a YouTube video on it, because it would have been awesome just to see, you know, the kind of damage. And I mean, I was probably going maybe, I don't know, 3/4 to, who knows, I can't remember exactly the amount of throttle I had going. I was going fast when I hit my wife's boat. And all I did was scratch the brand new paint job on the top end of her Charger, and I actually literally blew the whole sponson in one area right out for about maybe 3 or 4 inches worth, and there was shrapnel everywhere. Okay, so there was no way that was even gluable back together. You know, this one here, my first one, was getting bounced apart on the waves, and look how brittle that shit is. It's crap. So But this one's been getting bounced apart and blown at the seams, literally, okay, from wave bouncing. And I mean, we're talking 16-inch waves, you know, I mean, that's not much, you know, but just definitely not a very good, well thought out design. Too much inconsistencies and thicknesses all the way around, you know, so not the world's best boat. Definitely not worth the 300 bucks anyway. That's for damn sure. Maybe 100 bucks would have been a better price. I don't know. But I'm just not very happy or very thrilled with this overall. I'm definitely not very happy with Litehawk because, I mean, this has been a company who stood behind their products with me whenever I've had issues. You know, and it's not like I've had a lot of issues with their products myself, you know, up until this boat. But from what I did have for problems, they were more than happy to help out. Awesome customer service, just like they said. But when it came to this $300 boat, their awesome customer service turned into, no, I'm sorry, we're not going to do a darn thing for you other than, well, we could offer you a haul for 45 bucks. They didn't tell me where the haul was coming from because the last time I talked to them, you know, they hadn't even gotten in hulls yet, okay? The boat was too new on the market, you know, it just came out. So, you know, they're like, so where were they getting the hull from? Was it a return? Was it a brand new one off the shelf and they were just going to strip the guts out? We don't know. But for 45 bucks, I mean, I thought I was going to do it, but then when I went to Lake Nipissing here in town and I started jumping those 16-inch waves and the sponsons started just crashing apart on me, I was like, you know what, I'm not wasting 45 bucks, I'm not wasting 45 cents. They can replace the damn hull for free because they should in the first place just because of the crack on the top that happened, okay, which had nothing to do with me. That just snapped when I pulled the boat out of the water to change the bloody battery. But now the bottom sponsons are blowing apart. I've had to, you know, glue the thing back together just so I could take it out in the boat, take it back out into the lake and still use it without it sinking. So you know what, I've honestly, guys, I've had enough. So my final review and thoughts are this. The electronics are good, no doubt about that. Very good electronics in this boat. Quality of electronics seems to be very, very good, except for the receiver. It says waterproof. It is not waterproof whatsoever. Okay, so to me that's fraud. Okay, but I mean, hey, Joy's Way is doing the same thing. They have the same exact receiver and it says waterproof. And I mean, it's the exact same receiver. Just the sticker doesn't say Litehawk, right? So, not a waterproof receiver. Okay, canopy, I guarantee you guys this canopy is not waterproof. If you run this boat with no tape on the seam of the canopy when you put the canopy on, you are definitely going to end up with water in your boat and a fair amount, okay? If you do not hot glue this area, okay, for the shaft drive, you're going to get water up through here too, okay, because they just use like a resin to hold that pipe in place, and as soon as you adjust your prop height up and down once or twice, it starts to allow water to seep in, okay, so you got to seal that off. So there's a few things you got to do to this boat just to make it a little bit more watertight, not waterproof, but watertight. Now, being that it's a toy to them, why would they tell us that you have to grease this shaft every 2 to 3 runs? You don't do that with toys, okay? You do that with hobby grade stuff. So, you know, and there's an argument to be had there too, I guess. But now, as far as the styling of the boat goes, the size is good, you know. It's a good size boat. Okay, I'll give them that. They came up with a good sized machine. You can actually see this thing from 300 feet away without a problem. The range on it is actually exceptionally good. They rated it at 200 feet because they said to me that that's as far as they dared to take it out. They didn't want to go further. So we've actually pushed this thing up with about 500-600 feet max. We actually pushed it about that close not too long ago and we just kept going with it. Didn't lose any control, so we were happy. But otherwise it would have just ended up, you know, at the restaurant across the lake. But anyway, build quality on this thing is very lousy. okay, as you've seen. I mean, this thing just fractures apart without even trying. I mean, look at that. Doesn't take much, and it's trash. So no waterproof canopy, that's bull. No waterproof receiver, that's bull. ESC is waterproof, I'll give them that. The motor, well, we never got any water in the motor, so we don't know what it's going to do. But we haven't gotten enough water in the boat to find out as far as the motor being waterproof. But they don't make any statements about the ESC and the motor, whether or not they're waterproof. They just say the receiver is waterproof, and they say it right on the label. And that's crap, because I've had to take mine apart a good half a dozen times just to let it air dry. And it was kind of nice having the second Challenger, even though it got destroyed, because I was able to swap that receiver in too while I was waiting for the other one to dry. So it was kind of a nice bonus that way. So I've paid out basically, you know, 2 boats, and both of them are crap. The first one, like I said, is this one. It actually has lasted the longest. My other one that I picked up, just, you know, for giggles to see, hey, maybe I got a lemon, maybe I didn't. That lasted not even 5 minutes before hitting my wife's charger, and the bottom end of the boat exploded and went into shrapnel pieces everywhere. So, anyways, that's my final review and thoughts. So, I'm going to say, overall, don't waste your money on this boat. Go buy yourself an HK Genesis or something in that neighborhood. I mean, the Genesis is only a $200 hull. You spend another, what, 30 bucks on a radio and receiver, get yourself an ESC, a couple of batteries. I mean, you're about the same price as the Challenger, a little bit more, because you're going to have to pay shipping and probably, you know, import fees if you live in Canada, because you're going to be ordering this thing from the US or wherever Hobby King is. But it's going to be well worth it in comparison to spending, you know, $270 in tax on this piece of plastic junk. You know, and that's where my thoughts are. I mean, I'm going to actually go out and get a Genesis next, probably, or something along that lines. I'm definitely going to go fiberglass. I'll never ever buy an ABS hull boat ever again. You know, it's just not worth the hassle. But you know, guys, you'd wonder, the engineers, this is fairly thick near the front of the hull, right? This is thick, so they're about the same thickness here. Why couldn't they have followed that all the way around and throughout the entire boat? And I bet you that thing would have no problem jumping waves. You could probably beach jump it, do a lot of things to this boat without even hurting it, you know, or thinking about hurting it. You know, but no, they went very inconsistent, and even the thicknesses aren't consistent all the way around, you know. And I mean, this is crap. I mean, oh, this is just junk. Too thin, very brittle, you know. It comes apart. I don't know. That's the end of the Litehawk Challenger series of videos, and well, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully you're smarter than me and don't buy the boat, because I'll definitely wouldn't do it again, and I wouldn't recommend it, especially after all this. I mean, that's garbage. I mean, look how thin up that goes, and that's not even consistent either. You know, that's just junk. Have a good one, guys.